Okay, good luck, everybody. We're up to Kuf Ayin Beis, the Basra, and we're learning tonight Le'ilu Nishmas, my Heilige mother-in-law, Augusta by Rav Yosef HaKoyen, Chalukei Deis, whether it's a 26th yard site or a 27th yard site. But either way, she's been out of this world quite a long period of time, but she is not forgotten. She was a feisty woman who had very values or were very important to her. She was a very real person, and her commitment to Judaism and Yiddishkeit was very, very special. And I remember discussing her about davening, whether she davened. She goes, if I have to daven, I'd have to get up like 6 o'clock in the morning to daven, because I say everything and slowly. And sure enough, she got up 6 o'clock in the morning and davened. And she was of good German descent.
She loved her son-in-laws.
Okay. Anyway, we didn't hear that. We don't have women's Kalisha doesn't exist on this site. Okay. So we're up to Kuf Ayin Beis Amid Aleph, and we're in the middle of shtaris, discussing different shtaris, different cases, and nice stuff. Says the Gemara, we're a few lines down. Amalu Rabba, 4 lines down. Amalu Rabba, let's change the Gersa. Rabba Barav Shila, Lahanu Kasve Shtori de Akniyasa. There's different shtaris that accomplish different things. A shtar Akniyasa, you give a matana, it's a shtar. If you go ahead, a shtar Mecher, right, that's a shtar of Akniyasa. What about a shtar Halva? The shtar Halva is just the Halva is the actual transaction. The shtar is just the raya that what you can collect it. It's shtar Gevia. So if it's a shtar Akniyasa, meaning it's a shtar that has a matana in it, and a matana you can never collect from lekuchos. It's not shaykh. If someone comes along and takes away the field from you, you go back to the guy and say, "You gave me a present." He goes, "Yeah, I gave you a present. I'm sorry. It was taken away. What can you do? There's nothing to talk about." First is a shtar mechira. A shtar mechira, in fact, there is mishubadim. If you sell a shtar and it's take a field and it's taken away, you could. But as opposed to a halva, that this man of the shtar creates the shibud. We saw earlier in the Masech in Cheskas Abatim, the shibud is created b'shas the mechira, not b'shas the shtar, dating in the shtar. It's b'shas the mechira, because the Eidim create a koil. The publicity of mechira is created by the koil. So with that in mind, Rabbi Avshila told his soifrim, when you would write a shtar, again, shtar matana, or a shtar of hakna, or a shtar of mechira, when you write that, ki kasrina shtari akniyasa, if you know the day that the transaction took place, meaning the day he sold it, then write that. And if not, write it the day that you are in. That it should not appear as sheker. It should not appear as sheker. So either if you know the date where the actual nesina of the mechira took place, or the nesina matana took place, write that in, and if not, write the date you're on. That it shouldn't. If you write another date, it might seem like it's a shtar sheker. So therefore, in other words, by matana there is no shibud. By mechira, the shibud already was the date of when the sale took place. But don't write ostensibly any date, because then it's going to appear like shikra. So I have a date. I can't write the date of the actual transaction. Write it the day you're in Bezdin now, so it appears the shtar is on the up and up. Amalhu Rav L'Safrei. Rav told his seifrim. V'chein Amalhu Rav Huna L'Safrei, and Rav Huna in addition told his seifrim. Ki kaimisu b'shili, when you're going ahead and writing a shtar in shili, and the transaction took place in hini, kasu b'shili, v'af agav de masrin l'chumili b'hini. Even though the transaction took place in hini, you're writing the shtar in shili. So right now, apparently, it doesn't mean just write shili. The Rashbam learns is right now I'm in shili and I'm writing about a transaction that took place in hini. In other words, don't just write where you are right now. Of course, you write the transaction in hini, but as where you are right now, I'm writing a shtar in shili about a transaction that took place in hini. Places means they were places that were close to each other. And kikamisa bihini, conversely, when you're in hini, kasvu bihini, about the transaction, even though it took place in shili. So you're writing two things. You're writing, right now we're in Hini and the transaction took place in Shili or vice versa, but you're writing both in the shtar. Amarava. You have a shtar that says that someone owes you $100. You have a shtar, someone owes you $100. Now you go to Eidim and you say, listen, in other words, take the 100, let's make two shtaris of 50-50. To the same guy. In other words, no sweat if you're back. There's no problem. After all, he owes me 100. So we'll break it up into what? Into two denominations, one of 50 each, and we'll have sharas in each one. Don't do it. My timer. Of the Rabbanan made a milsa that by not allowing you to do this, it should be good for both the borrower and the lender. To the lender, that the shtar should be $100. Luck of the pirate, fellas. You have a shtar, it says $100. You pay 50. So that incentivizes the loiva to go ahead and pay up because you know there's a shtar that's out. If you had two stars of 50 and you pay a shtar of 50, so nothing incentivizes them. You paid off the whole shtar. If it's 100 shtar and you only paid off miktsas, he's always scared that what? He's going to lose the shaver of 50. Guys, again, he gave wrote a shaver. If he loses the shaver of 50, the guy who owes the shtar of 100 can collect 100. Remember, this is Eved Loivel Ishmalva. Guys, the Eved Loivel Ishmalva, we're going to make the him an Eved. We're going to put the onus of him watching the receipt. So therefore, if the shtar is 50, there's no receipt. It's done. It's a different shtar. And if the guy's my mayor with a shtar of 50, he owes him that other 50. So in order, it's good for the malva to go ahead and have a shtar of 100, not a shtar of 50, to incentivize the loiva to pay up. Because he doesn't, he's always in fear. If he loses his shaver, the other person will be able to collect that 50. That if he's an unscrupulous guy, he'll be able to collect that 50. So now, why is it good for the loiva? Why is it good for the loiva not to split it up? Right? Guys, once the shtar is pogum, meaning the shtar says 100, you paid 50. So there's a begam now in the shtar. When he collects the other 50, he's going to collect b'shvua. He's going to have to collect b'shvua because the shtar is pogum. The shtar says 100, and he's only collecting 50. So it's good for the loiva to have a shtar of 100 in order that the malva will have to make a shvua in order to collect. So it is a mila both ways. Don't take the 100 and make two stars of 50 because if you do, it's not good. It's not good for the loiva, not good for the malva. It's better this way. Okay, that's the first statement. Now another statement similar. V'yamarava, Haiman did not get trei shtari. This person who went ahead did not get trei shtari b'nei chamishin. He has two shtaris for the same person of 50-50. V'yama shavyin chad bar meya. Let's make it a clean sweep. Instead of having two stars of 50, let's have one star of 100. This is the inverse of the other case, right? The other case, there's 100. He wants to split two 50s. He has two 50s. He wants to make into 100. He wants to make into 100. Loi meshvinan lei. Don't do it. You can't do it. Why? The other rabbanim milsa the nichalei lemilva nichalei lemalva. Nichalei malva. Why is it good for the malva that the star should remain as two 50s rather than 100? Kihechi deloi nifgam shtare. He's not going to have to go ahead and swear on the other 50. Guys, when does he swear? When the shtar says 100 and he's collecting 50. When doesn't he swear? When the shtar says 50 and he's collecting 50. So it's good for you go ahead, keep it at 50-50 rather than making it to 100, because if you make it 100 and you can collect 50, you're going to go ahead, well, I didn't have to swear. Better for the malva not to swear. Now, why is it good for the loiva? It's good for the loiva to remain shtei sharis. In other words, if he pays off 50, he's not going to be one incent. He doesn't have to worry about losing a receipt because the guy can only collect 50 because he has a shtar of 50. So keep it 50 rather than 100. Because if he has 100, he's going to have to keep the receipt of 50, or else he'll be able to collect the other ones. Very good. List them before the Mishnah. Rav Ashi, Haiman denakit shtori bar meyazuze. He has a shtar of 100, and the Malva says the following to Eidim: Shavnu nele chad bar chamishin. Go ahead and write a shtar of 50. It says 100. He says to go ahead and write a shtar of 50. So the Rashbam says that you paid off 50. In other words, why would he go ahead and be lowering the amount of the shtar? So it was 100. This is Heshi wanted to say it the other day, right? Once you cross out something, right, Hesh, this is what you wanted to say the other day. So take 100 and make that 100 into a 50, right? That's what he's saying. Make the shtar into a 50. After all, I'm the one who's owed the money, so I'm being really nice, right? So the answer is that you don't do it. Now, why would he say 50? Either the guy paid off 50, or he's Michael 50. Either way, he wants to take a shtar of 100 and make it into a 50. You don't do that. My timra. It's amazing how again the Gemara is yoyed to every criminal mind, every trickster, everything. Why do they say you can't? I mean, when Yecheskel moved to Eretz Yisrael and he was working Chutz La'aretz and he's making money and this and everything, Shmei Drei, he said to me, the tax system in Israel was made up by Jewish accountants. you can't fool anything. Any Shmei Drei that you can possibly make, tax evasion, nothing. Everything is taken care of. There's no tax exemptions. They're all taken care of. So here you have the same thing. The Gemara goes ahead and deals with any exemption, any criminal mind, what they might have to do. So this guy wants to go ahead, take 100, make 50. Seems like a mitzvah guy, right? What a nice guy. What a nice guy. 1 second. No. Lay mashvin, don't do it. My timer. I'm reading. Hi mifra priya. He really paid up the 100, guys. He's taking a shtar of 100 and he's saying making a 50. The guy paid up 100 and he's making a shtar of 50 to collect another 50. He's not a nice guy. He's a louse. That's the Gemara. Hi, Mifra Priya. V'amalei habli shtara. Give me the shtar. V'amalei irkasli. He paid up the 100. He said, "You know what? Where's the shtar?" He goes, "I lost it." So and v'kasavlei tavra. He went ahead and he wrote him a receipt. And now what does he do? He takes out the shtar of 50 and says it's a new loan. So don't go ahead, be tricked into any mistake. Everything, all these things are taken care of. Says the Mishnah. Shnei Achin, you have two brothers. Shnei Achin, you have two brothers. Echad ani ve'echad asher. So they're inheriting from their father. One has money and one doesn't. V'niach lemaviem merchatz ubeis habad. And the father leaves them over either both or one or the other, a bathhouse or a beis habad. Now, a bathhouse, you needed attendance. Remember, the floors were wooden. You needed to put coals there. You needed towels. It wasn't it wasn't going to putting on a shower. It was a whole geshifta. It was a whole to do. Beis habad is a wine press. Beis habad is an olive press. Asan l'schar. Let's say the father used this for business. He would rent out, he'd rent out the merchatz to be used, and he'd rent out the olive press to be used. Then aschar le'emsa. Regardless of what the brother's financial state is, whether he's an ani or he's an asher, the schar that they get would go ahead and be divided up. That makes sense? What about ason la'atzmai? The father did not rent it out. The father used the merchatz for himself, and the father used the olive press for himself. Now, guys, the ani does not have the means of using the olive press. He has no people to work it. He has no olives. The merchatz, he has no avodim. He has no one to work it. Where the asher does. What's the halacha? So ha'asher amel ani kachlcha avodim. Take avodim. The yirchatzu b'merchatz and let them wash you in the merchatz. Kachlcha zeisim uba v'asa b'beis habad. In other words, basically the ani is messed over. Again, he can't use it, right? Rashi brings in the din of good or good, either sell it or let's make a deal. There's no shaykh over here. Let's make a deal. There is no deal to be made. It's only the usher who could use it and not the ani. So the first din of the Mishnah, again, ani usher inherit a merchatz. If it's l'schar, divide it. If not, the usher uses it and the ani doesn't. The ani is welcome to use it if he ever stops becoming an ani. If he gets zaysim, but pashtus, he doesn't know. The usher does not have to go ahead and divide anything. They don't have to sell it. He can't force them to sell it, right? No din of good or good over here. Shnaim shohaya be'ir achas. You have two people in the city. We've had this before, and the Gemara always gives the same people. Shem echad Yosef ben Shimon, Shem achad Yosef ben Shimon. You have two people by the same name in the city. We had this in Gittin, right, and Halvas. And ein yichaylim lahoitzi shtar chayv ze al ze. This guy Yosef ben Shimon says the other Yosef ben Shimon owes me money. If he takes out the shtar chayv, what does the other guy say? 1 second, I'm not the loiva, I'm the malva. You can't do it. I guess you have to say there's no Adam around, that which one was what. The Adam signed on the shtar, but since they have the same name, you're going to collect with the shtar, you don't have a raya who's the malva, who's the loiva. So neither one could go ahead and take out that shtar on each other. They can't take on each other. Nor can they be the loiva. You're going to take it out on one, the other guy's going to say, he's the loiva, not me. So if you have two people in the city with the same name, you will not be able to go ahead and lend them money, because if you do, you're apt to go ahead and lose your money, because you go ahead and say, I'm not the guy, the other guy's the guy. Let's say a guy lent to both. He lent to both of them, and he found in his shtaros it said it paid up one of them. Shneim Peruyan, or they say Shneim Peruyan. They both. Excuse me. Shtaros shel Yosef ben Shimon Perua. So it says if it says that I have shtaros, they're both paid. Ketzi Yatsu, if they want to go ahead to lend one from the other, Yishaleshu, they should go ahead and write their father's name. So what's the case over here? Just 1 second. I thought I had the case. Okay, so first of all, you seem to have a problem over here. We said that a person cannot be a malva, you can't lend money to one of the other guys, right? Guys, in one sentence you said, you can never go ahead and lend money because the other one's going to say it's him. Now you're telling me a case where you find among your shtaris, you find one that says Perua, and you lend to both of them. You let money to both of them, and you have one in your shtaris, it says the shtar was paid up. Which one of the shtaris was paid up? So in that case, Shnei and Peruyan will say that they're both paid up. It's a suffix, you don't know. The Gemara is going to ask, L'chari, this case should never take place, because you're never, ever going to go ahead and lend, you're not allowed to lend to one of them. That the Gemara will deal with, Bez Hashem. So here's the case. A person, he has money, he was a lender, he lent to both Yosef and Shimon. He finds among his shtaris and his receipts, he finds one of them paid up. What's the halacha? They're both paid up. They're both paid up. Good. That's the din over here. They're both paid up. Nimsa le'echad ben shtarosav shtarish Yosef ben Shimon Perua, shtarish shnehem Peruyan. They're both considered paid up. Remember, he took loans from both of them. Kate said Yasu to avoid this problem. How do you avoid this problem? You go ahead and yishaleshu. You go ahead and make the third generation. Yosef ben Shimon ben Harry, and the other one's father's name was Fred. In other words, go down the line until you could be able to go ahead and discern the difference between the name. And let's say you had both Yosef and Shimon ben Harry, then yichtvu simin. You write a simin. This guy was a fish. He signs his name. He's a simin. You can make a simin. He's tall. He's short. You can go ahead and make a simin which one it was. Then misumanim. Then yichtvu. If the simanim are the same, then yichtvu kayin. Go ahead and write kayin. In other words, check out his yichus, who's the kayin or not. In other words, go ahead. I don't know why you don't do this initially. If you do this initially, then you'll be able to go ahead, Rod, and again, why only after the problem arises? Why can't you do this initially? And I guess it wasn't the custom to write more than one name. Yosef ben Shimon. I guess this would be an eitzah l'chayra. This would be an eitzah. Anyway, those are the cases. Ahu shtar, the following case. There was the shtar. The nafik lebeidina the Rav Huna. It came out in the Rav Huna's bezdin. A guy was holding on to the shtar. The ksiv bey ani Pliny ben Pliny. It says a name. The son of Pliny ben Pliny, the son of so and so. Lavisi mana mimcha. Borrowed a mana 100 sus mimcha from you. From you. Now, what's you? Can you collect with the shtar? So Amar Rav Huna, Mimcha, Afilu Reish Galusa, afilu Mishava Malka. When you have a pronoun, it could be anybody. It could be anybody. It could be just because you're holding on to the star, you're muchzik in the star is not enough of a reason to believe that you're the balabas. As we're going to see, maybe we're chayish from a fila, it fell from you, and anyone picked it up. Says Rav Huna, you can't go ahead and use the star to collect the debt. Amar le Rav Chisda l'Rabba. Said Rav Chisda to Rabba, listen, Rabba, Pike, go ahead, ayin ba, look into this matter. Dila urta in the evening, boy lo Rav Huna minach. Right, Rav Huna is going to go ahead and ask you the shaila. He's going to ask you about this psak. So go check into it. So Nafik, Rabba went, Dok v'ashkech d'Tanya. Get sheyeshulav edim v'ein b'izman. A get that sheyeshulav edim v'ein b'izman. It's a long Rashbam over here. Kids and Nimrods, there are three stories that apostle the Rabbanon. And if you go ahead and get married with them, then what? Then the marriage is a good marriage. The trial is not a mamzer. So a woman who's an Eisha Sish needs a get. These three are apostle the Rabbanon. If one of them is that doesn't have his man. They were metakim his man beget. You might remember, guys, Mishum Basra Mishum Paris. In other words, the guy's married to his niece and she's mizana. He may go ahead and predate it that the get took place earlier to get her off the hook, all in Paris by Nichsei Miloy. But the bottom line is you really midaraisa do not need a zman beget. It's only midrabanan. So now you have a get sheyesh lev edim, the ain bo zman, and there's no zman. So Abishol Oimer im kasev boy, if it's written in the shtar, girashtia hayoim, I divorced you today. I divorced her today. Kasha. Now, what does today mean? Today can be any day, right? Today. Alma hayoim hahu yuma the nafik bay. It's the day that is right now. Mashma hayum the nafik bay mashma hachanami mimcha mehu gavra the nafik mitutayade mashma. So just like in a get, when it says today, it means the day. So too, when it says the ambiguous pronoun mimcha, it's the one holding on to that's mimcha, and therefore says Rav Huna, based upon the raya from get, you should be able, in fact, to collect the chayv. From get, okay, again, the get says divorce today. Today can mean any day. We're going to say it means this day. Mimcha can mean anybody. We're going to say no. We're going to say it's the one that's holding on to it. Mimcha, you. So therefore, you can collect the money, the meyazus. Amalei Abaya said Abaya to Rabba, Vidilma Abashol Rebbe Eliezer Svirale, or I was at Rebbe Elazar. Maybe it was like Rebbe Elazar. The Amar Eide Mesira Karti. We just had it the other day. This huge machlokes that is in Masechta Gittin. What makes the get? Is it Eidei Chasima or Eidei Mesira? So, just like you don't need Eidim, guys, you don't need Zman and get. Midrabanan, you need a Zman beget. Like if you hold Eidei Mesira karti, you don't even need a Zman beget. You don't need just because it's the Eidim that it's a get, it's a valid get, it's kosher get, it's written in the name, give it over, you're good. So maybe the reason over there Mehayom works is because we don't need it at all. But over here, let's be chayish l'nefila. In other words, your raya rabba that you want to bring from get is not a good raya, says Abaya. Says Abaya Ken Zayin that what? That by get it works with the Eidei Mesira karti. And therefore, that's why the Zman doesn't make a difference. But Masha'enkin over here, where it says Mimcha, maybe we're chayish v'nefila, and the Mimcha is not you. Maybe it's somebody else. So therefore, it says Abaya to Rabba, I don't think that poik duck that you found from get, I don't think it's a good duck. I don't think it's a good insight. I don't think it's a good sushtel that you found. So Amalei, so Rabba said to Abaya, L'nefila lechashina. We're not chayish v'nefila. We're not chayish. And Rabba now wants to prove to Abaya, you're not chayish in the nefila. Ditnan. And now we're going to use our Mishnah. You always wonder, like when a Gemara brings something in, at some point in time, I always pointed out to you, they're going to bring the Mishnah as what? As a source. Ditnan. Shnayim shohaya be'ir achas. You had two people in a city. Shem echad Yosef ben Shimon, v'shem echad Yosef ben Shimon. Eini yechayil l'hoitzi shtar chayv zeh al zeh. Mishnah again. They can't be one. They can't go ahead and bring a shtar chayv one or the other. V'loy acha yochel lahitzi aleim shtar chayv, nor can somebody else bring a shtar chayv on them. Correct? In other words, they can't be malva loiva to each other, and they can't be a loiva to somebody else because they're going to say the other guy. What's the diak? What about them being the malva? Ha'im alacherim yichaylim. I can't be the loiva, but I could be the malva. Now, why should you be able to be the malva? Why am I not worried that you went ahead, lent money to so-and-so, your star fell down, the other guy with that name picked it up, and he is really not the malva, and he's collecting from me. In other words, just like as the loiva, you can go ahead and tell the malva, I'm not the guy. Why, by the case of malva, can't you tell the malva, I didn't borrow money from you, I borrowed from the other guy? Now, why are we worried about that? Why aren't we worried that he went ahead, that star fell, and he picked it up? Ella, you see, said Rabbi, you're not chayish in the fila. And since you're not chayish in the fila, the mimcha, the you, by the star of the mana, is the you. And therefore, I hold that what you're not chayish in the fila, and I hold it's a very good sushtel from what? From get. Says the Gemara, Ella shmamina. Why do you say that he dropped it? You're not chayish. And Abaya, who says what? That I'm not convinced. Guys, outside eye contact. There's such a unique difference between the case of Mimcha and being chayish nefila, and the case by what? By Yosef ben Shimon in our Mishnah. Yosef ben Shimon. You know why, if you are the malva, you're believed? What are you going to be chayish for? That he dropped it. Now, if he dropped it, you have to be chayish that in the whole city, one person by his name is gonna go ahead and find it. Bishleima mimcha, when it's a very universal pronoun of mimcha. If he drops it, anyone who finds it can use it. It's an nefila de rabim. Anyone can use it. You know why in our Mishnah we're not suspicious that he's the malva and not the other guy? Because why do you have to be chayish for? That every single person in the city who finds this, the only one who can possibly find it and use it is what? It's Yosef ben Shimon. For one person finding, we're not chayish, and therefore he could be the malva. And we're not chayish, he dropped it, and punk, the other guy found it. However, by the get, where it's mimcha, it's a general pronoun, and therefore we're worried that if you drop it, anyone can use it, therefore you can't collect. So that's the bias distinction to Rabbah between the case of our Mishnah, where you could be the malva, and when we're not chayish in the fila, because it would have to be the other Yosef picks it up. Mashen ki mimcha, where it could be anyone, then we are chayish.